Welcome to A Drop of Happy, where we focus on carefree, stress well, light and lively living while reviewing and discussing all things entertainment and wellness. And I am your host, Wanda Toby, and this is the podcast arm to my blog, lightv.com. So please, lightv.com, LITEVI.com. Please share, like, subscribe, share some more, come back, all that good stuff. We are going to go over a couple of wellness articles. I don't know if I'm going to have time to go through both of them and discuss, but we're definitely at least going to do one. And I do like to start with a journal prompt or a point of reflection, but uh, this whole this whole is going to be that um, because it is talking about um, revealing your thoughts and revealing your emotions and the importance of that. So, this is one of the phrases in the Book of Answers. Um, and really, just when I do that, I really like, what are you feeling today? What are you feeling today? And you can start there as far as a journal prompt. The actual phrase is reveal your thoughts to a trusted confidant. On the post, I did write a little flash poetry. Actually, two in one, two made one, but I really like them. Um, it's mighty you are. Allow yourself to be seen not as you wish, but as you honestly are, not wounded, yet vulnerable and mighty. In your sincerity, a burgeoning healing takes root and grows like a mighty oak tree. In my research on stress management and wellness, I have found there's 201 pieces of information out there, right? There's so much from stress levels, from the relaxation response, the stress response. There's so many things out there and so much advice on how you should cope, how you should manage, what you should do. Always the basic. One of the basics is a balance. Everything is about a balance. And sometimes when life gets out of whack and things get out of balance, then the cycle of unbalance, cycle of stress just keeps going and burgeoning and burgeoning. The other thing I've found that the basic of the basic is amongst all that, amongst all the advice, amongst everything, is knowing oneself, knowing who you are, knowing what your values are, and how you react to things, then allows a person to better prepare for the inevitable ups and downs that happen in life. Um, the thing is, sometimes knowing is not enough. And I commend those that take the time to actually pause and reflect on themselves. But sometimes you have to do more than that. You have to go beyond the pausing and reflecting. So if you don't reflect on who you are, don't figure out what your values are, don't figure out what your baseline are, that is the place to start, right? Even if you don't like what you're exploring. And sometimes that may require professional help to help you along. That may require journaling. And I know I keep saying it all the time, but when I feel out of sorts, I whip out my pen and you know, I write it down because I like to go back and read about it. But it requires a moment of reflection. And if you do that on a regular basis, if you've done that, awesome. What's next? If you haven't, and there's plenty of people, I know it kind of sounds, to me, it kind of sounds crazy because I'm one of those overthinkers. So I probably reflect a little too much. So it does sound a little crazy when I think about people who potentially don't, but they are out there, and it could be you. There's opposite ends of the spectrum, but that is definitely a place to start. But let's say, what do you do afterwards? What's next? Because again, sometimes that is just not enough. And sometimes you have to take it a step further and share parts of yourself. Sharing your feelings and emotions, whether it be venting or expressing love or connecting on a mutual experience, um, or opening yourself up to be vulnerable or in a professional setting, um, it is a very valuable exercise. Because really, we're social creatures and we need to connect in ways that deepen our experiences, that deepen our life experiences, that deepen our connections to other people. We need that. And at the end of the day, keeping things bottled up is definitely not healthy. Not knowing who you are doesn't lay the foundation for growth. So it kind of all ties together, which again, um, I have these two articles. I'm gonna post the links for the articles, but just there are just some overall salient points from the articles. Um, One is the case for embracing our emotions, and it kind of just goes over why that's important. Emotions can help us learn about ourselves. Emotions can help us relieve stress. Emotions can help us make good choices. Emotions can help us connect with others. Then the other article is how to make sense of your feelings and the importance of sharing them. And it just talks about why feelings. Very similar. Feelings help us survive. Feelings promote emotional attachment and social interaction. Feelings support growth. Feelings move us towards health and more life. But again, going back, it's not enough to feel them, but it's to kind of sit with them and learn about what they mean in our lives and things like that. So the first article is a fairly recent one. It was um, published this year on Psychology Today. Again, I'm going to have the link by James Gross, Dr. James Gross. And it is the case for embracing our emotions, why and how we should strive to understand and express our emotions. So, hopping in, it starts with imagine being in a cozy coffee shop. People around you chat softly and cups clink as you sit across from someone you've recently met and hope to get to know better. Your conversation goes beyond the usual small talk. You open up and share feelings. As you do, they reciprocate and something special happens. Your connection deepens. In a world that so often values thinking logically and holding back emotions, these genuine moments can be rare, and the idea of being more rather than less emotional with others may seem counterintuitive. Society has shaped our collective belief about emotions, often leading us to think of emotions as distracting and unwelcome. However, these beliefs might not be true and could be holding us back. In fact, sharing our emotions can benefit our self awareness, our mental well being, decision making, and relationships. Pause. I am actually not a very emotional, mature person. This I know about myself. Um, yeah, I don't, yeah, it is a difficult thing for me to genuinely share my emotions. Now, if you're really, really super close to me, I pro work in progress. You know, I'll be saying that when it's a work in progress. Um, But on the one hand, I'm aware of who I am with myself. But in intimate situations, or that being vulnerable piece, whoo, whoo, child. Is it a Capricorn thing? I don't know. I don't know. But it's not my strong suit. Uh, yeah. But I at least am aware, and at least I think I've done a good job of establishing my values. But every now and then I do have to check myself. Every now and then I have to check in with myself to reaffirm those and what that means for myself, and and things like that. So I'm good at um, venting and reaching out to friends and things like that. But in intimate situations or confrontational situations or things like that, I'm not so great. Yeah, work in progress, because emotions can be multi-layered, and what you feel can be just intertwined with so many other things. Now, then they go into talking about, then he goes into talking about the benefits of embracing our emotions, which I alluded to some of these, but obviously they go into more detail. So, the first bullet: emotions can help us learn about ourselves. Absolutely. Embracing our emotions enables a deeper understanding of ourselves. Rather than suppressing feelings, acknowledging and exploring them can lead to increased self awareness. For instance, we get into our needs and whether they are being met or not. The heightened self awareness, in turn, becomes a catalyst for personal growth as we learn to navigate and overcome challenges with resilience and grace. Emotions can help us relieve stress. Pause. Bet y'all didn't know that, huh? Sometimes people think emotions cause stress, but again, it's that connection, it's that being aware, um, and tapping in that can actually help us deal with stress and properly channel what is going on, properly challenge the energy from the stress response. Back. Research consistently shows that being aware of our emotions goes hand in hand with effective emotion regulation and resilience in the face of stress. The act of expressing emotions, whether through talking, writing, dancing, or other outlets, can serve as a natural stress reliever. Bottling up emotions often leads to increased stress levels, whereas acknowledging and processing them in healthy ways provides a cathartic release, promoting a sense of calm and mental well being. Pause. It's that, see, that part is processing them. And I want to stress heavy on the healthy ways, because we can find a lot of unhealthy ways to deal with our emotions and process the feelings and things like that. Big, big, big highlight is healthy, healthy. And of course, you're here. You're with a drop of happy. Um, one of the ways, which kind of burgeons into other ways, is through imagination, through engaging in your imagination, through writing. Notice it said dancing, movement, watching a show, reading a book, um, really engaging in the arts. That's a big deal. Um, a big part of my toolkit. But again, focus on the healthy ways. The healthy ways. Did I say the healthy ways? Because we sure shopaholic, emotional eating, drinking, the bad behavior. There's so many ways that we utilize that aren't healthy to make ourselves feel good, or to even mask dealing with emotions that we may not want to process because it might be too painful or whatever. Next bullet. Emotions can help us make good decisions. Emotions play a crucial role in decision making rather in rather than divorcing ourselves from emotions when faced with choices. Embracing them can provide valuable insight, reflecting our gut reaction about what is good or bad for us. Emotional awareness allows us to make more informed decisions by considering the emotional meaning and the potential impact of the situation. Pause. Because this is again where that baseline and foundation of knowing ourselves and knowing your values, and because you can get caught up in an emotional turmoil, and that can skew how you make decisions and things like that. So you do have to kind of have a good baseline, or you do have to know, or get a good understanding of what motivates or what's behind some of your emotional reactions. So it's a big exercise. Like it is not, it is a daunting, it can be a daunting task, especially if you're not used to practicing it. Emotions can help us connect with others. Emotions serve as a powerful tool for connecting with others. In fact, many scientific studies have found self disclosure to be a vital and rewarding part of forming social relationships. By allowing ourselves to be in tune with our emotions, we open the door to empathy and understanding. When we express our emotions authentically, we create a space for others to do the same, strengthening the bonds that form the foundation of our relationships. Recognizing the value of emotional expression is only the first step. The journey towards a richer, more fulfilling emotional life involves putting this understanding into action. Before we delve into the specific steps of embracing our emotions, it is important for us to address some barriers that might keep us from doing so. Let's pause. That connecting with others piece, um, that for some people it's not a problem, but for some people me, and it may be you. Um, you have to be okay with being vulnerable. You have to be okay with letting your guard down. You have to be okay with letting people in. Um, and I'm not talking about like just venting about a problem or what have you, but really again being your authentic self and sharing yourself with another person. Uh, yeah. So breaking down barriers to embracing our emotions. There's a couple of bullets on here as well. Embracing our emotions can often evoke feelings of vulnerability. Okay, I said that. Acting as a barrier to open expression. Creating a safe and nurturing environment is paramount, where the freedom to express emotions is met with understanding, free from judgment. This secure space can be fostered with the trusted circle of friends, family, or under the guidance of a mental health professional. Establishing such a supportive foundation sets the stage for a more open and authentic dialogue surrounding your emotions. Pause. I mean, I don't really have anything to add to that. That it said what it said. Is that not clear? Because it's clear to me. That vulnerable feeling, but then you have to be able to cultivate an environment where you feel safe. And a lot of the times is we may not do that. We may not have that person to do that with. And we may be in an environment that's not conducive to that, which then can be very difficult and challenging. The next bullet under breaking down the barriers to embracing our emotions, the journey towards reconnecting with our emotions is not an instantaneous process. It requires time and some degree of effort. This often poses a barrier when we don't plan accordingly. What can help is to set aside moments for self reflection, and exploring our current emotional state and the underlying reason for these feelings. This intentional practice deepens your connection with emotions, peeling back layers to uncover their root causes. The last bullet in this section is embarking on the path to heightened emotional awareness is a personal and gradual endeavor. It's crucial to be patient as you navigate this exploration, discovering what resonates best with your unique emotional landscape. Allow the process to unfold naturally, recognizing that each step contributes to a more profound understanding and acceptance of your emotions. Mm, mm. I already said, let's pause. I already said it's not an overnight thing, but it's a regular practice that you should probably engage in if you're not there already, because you could be there already. So, taking steps towards embracing our emotions. Well, what do we do? Now that we've laid the groundwork for creating a supportive emotional space and recognize the importance of self reflection, here are a few concrete tips to help you embrace your emotions more fully. These practical strategies are designed to cultivate your emotional awareness and empower you on your journey of discovering your emotions. Okay, so it has some practical tips, which again, if you've kind of hopped in on um, heard some of the stress management tips and things like that, not nothing new under the sun, right? This is, we're not inventing like some miraculous thing, but what would help is if we actually did them. You actually did them. I actually did them. Ooh, and mm, the C word that I don't like, consistency. Who? Con what? Con what? Yeah, consistency. Yes. So uh we can be better. We can be in a better place. We can try to do, but mm, that C word, that C word is a problem. So here we go. Here are the tips. Practice mindfulness. Engage in mindfulness exercises to increase your awareness of the present moment. Mindfulness allows you to observe your thoughts and emotions without judgment, creating a space for a deeper understanding of your feelings. And I'm going to pause here and I'm going to add, in addition to practicing mindfulness, because we can do a whole thing on what that actually means, right? But the easiest thing that it says is to be present, at the very least, to be present. So you can also practice grounding, um, and there are a lot of different grounding exercises. You can just Google it, but one of the easiest things to ground yourself is to um, touch nature. Touch nature or be in awe of nature. Um, Go outside, put your feet to the put put your feet on the earth, your hands. If you, I know I'm gonna sound like an old person, but gardening, going for a walk, looking at the sky, looking at the trees. Um, there's one where you kind of focus on your five senses. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you feel? Like, grounding really helps you stay in the present moment. And that is a mindfulness practice. But there's so much more. There's so much more to practice mindfulness. But if you don't remember anything else, um, remember that you focus on the present. The next bullet is identify and label your emotions. Take time to identify and label your emotions. Sometimes we may struggle to articulate what we're feeling. Practice labeling your emotions without judgment, whether it's happiness, sadness, anger, or a combination. Acknowledging your feelings is a crucial step towards allowing yourself to fully experience them. Next bullet, don't sweep your emotions under the rug. Again, there's that be mindful. Be mindful of the tendency to suppress or ignore your emotions. While distraction can be useful in certain situations, constant avoidance may lead to a boomerang effect where emotions resurface later, often stronger. So it's important to find a balance between distraction and acknowledgement of emotions. Pause. Balance. Here we go again. Here we go again. Balance. And that's like the hardest thing to do. Like, let's be so for real about this. Let's be so for real about consistency, balance, and managing all the things. It's a moment of silence for all the things. it's it's a it's a woosah for all the things. It's a what, because when am I expected to balance when life is not allowing me the time to be? Okay, next bullet. That's it. We just gonna move on to the next bullet because I feel like I'm stressing myself out over how I'm gonna do all this. So next bullet. Build new beliefs about emotions. Ooh, I love this one. Many of us have been taught that emotions are at least somewhat bad, unhelpful, and make us weak. But all emotions, even the uncomfortable ones, are a natural part of the human experience. When we build new beliefs about emotions and see them as a useful part of life, this can make it easier to embrace them more fully. Let's pause because this is kind of, I mean, it's not huge. I just really, really like it because it puts the control back with us, right? And this is the same thing about stress management and managing stress, is really changing our mindset about it, because there is this notion that all stress is bad, stress is bad, stress is bad. When in actuality, no, dude, it's the same thing. Take out emotions and put in stress. As a matter of fact, I really think it's worth reading again. Build new beliefs about emotions. Many of us have been taught that emotions are at least somewhat bad or unhelpful and make us weak. But all emotions, even the uncomfortable ones, are a natural part of the human experience. When we build new beliefs about emotions and see them as a useful part of life, this can make it easier to embrace them more fully. Engage in creative outlets. Now, you already know that's what we do over here. That's what we do over at lightv.com and a drop of happy. This is the happy space. That's what we do over here. So, explore creative activities such as art, music, or dance, and means of expressing your emotions non-verbally. Creative outlets provide a unique space for emotional release and can be a therapeutic way to process complex feelings. So you at the right place, baby. I needs not say more. Next bullet, seek professional support. If you find it challenging to navigate your emotions independently, consider seeking support from a mental health professional. Therapy provides a structured and confidential space for exploring your feelings with guidance. Pause, and there is nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with therapy. There's nothing wrong with talking to somebody, whether you need a life coach, whether you need whatever. Um, and sometimes I will say this because I've been to therapy. Friends have been to therapy. I've recommended. Um, Sometimes you you might need to shop around for the right fit. I mean, I don't really know how else to say it. Like, there is no other way to say it. The first person you get with, like, I don't want to put that message out there, go see a therapist, and you go see one and it's horrible, you might have to shop around for the best fit for the one that works for you. But there's nothing to be ashamed of or anything like that. Being as September is Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, um, and I've been affected or touched by suicide loss. Uh, you may know somebody or know somebody or heard of somebody like the tentacles of it are out there. Um, so for yourself or be that anchor for somebody else or reach out and and things like that. But if you need to seek the help, seek the help. If you know somebody that needs to seek the help, listen, don't be afraid to recommend it. There should be zero stigma, especially with what's going on in the world. Some people might need some professional help. You might need some professional help. I might need some professional help. And there shouldn't be anything wrong about that. The last bullet that it has is to celebrate your small wins. Acknowledge and celebrate small victories in expressing your emotions, whether it's a candid conversation with a friend or successfully navigating a challenge emotional moment. Recognizing your progress can be motivating. And I think we don't do that enough sometimes. I think we don't. I think, especially as people who are responsible for others, people who have a lot on their plate, people who are used to getting things done, it's like that's just your baseline. Like, what do you mean? That's what I'm supposed to do. That's what I'm supposed to do. So there's no reason to celebrate what I'm supposed to be doing, what I've been accustomed to doing. But even that in itself can be a stress response because we're just so accustomed to doing it. So definitely celebrate our small wins and your small victories. Remember that embracing your emotions is a personal journey and progress may take time. Be patient with yourself. Celebrate even the smallest progress and allow the process to unfold gradually. This is a powerful step. And then the article goes on, how do we know it's working? How do you know you're moving towards embracing your emotions? Watch for the subtle shifts, a deeper connection with others, a growing understanding of yourself, and you found resilience in the face of challenges. In these moments, emotions add depth to life, like different colors in a painting. Keep exploring, acknowledging the little wins, and know that each move towards being more emotional is a step towards more self awareness, well being, and connection. Hey. Uh, so the article, because I do love giving credit where credit is due, I am going to put a link to this particular article, but it was written by Julia Dietzer, I could be saying that name wrong, and James Gross. And let me see, this was published earlier this year. Julia Dietzer. Oof, I'm so sorry, sis. She's a PhD student um, in clinical child adolescent psychology at Technische Universität Dresden in Germany. Her research is focused on the long-term implications of early adversity for emotion processing and interoception. And James Gross is a professor of psychology at Stanford University, where he directs the Stanford Psychophysiological Laboratory. And and I'm thinking I'm just gonna have to do a part two now. This is gonna have to be part one, and I'm gonna have to do a part two because I really like the other article, and I definitely think it's worth going over. So be on the lookout for part two. Um, but there's a lot of meat and potatoes for you to reflect on and journal on and think on and all that good stuff. Again, if you enjoyed this, come on back now. You hear? Um, livey.com, a drop of happy, where all streaming podcasts, you can just put that in there and you'll find it. Or just go to livey.com, or again on most social media platforms. Again, my name is Wanda Toby. Thanks for listening, and remember to live light and stress well.